Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
And welcome back, everybody. She is somebody who takes care of the stuff that most of us don't want to take care of. We don't know what we're doing when it comes to that. I'm going to say I'm financially illiterate. I'm going to get it out there right away. I'm talking about your bookkeeping. And I've got somebody who helps lots of people, small businesses, individuals that want to make sure that they've got a grasp on what they're doing in terms of their bookkeeping. She's the person behind AAA Bookkeeping. And Jamie Wheeless joins us here on the program. How you doing today, Jamie?
I am unbelievable. I hope you're doing great.
Doing great. Yeah. Um, I've tried my own bookkeeping. I remember those days going way back where I would generate invoices using Word. Don't laugh. I'm sure you know lots of people are doing that at one point, maybe still are. But when you work with clients, what's typically the mission that you have to help people?
To get everything ready so that when they take it to their CPA or enrolled agent or tax professional, that all the information is together and it's accurate so they can get as much back as possible or not have to spend so much on their taxes. And also too, to help people who need to have proper bookkeeping so that they can present it to their bank and get funding, get their loans reapproved, that type thing.
Wow. What are the common mistakes that people are making themselves or maybe other bookkeepers are making that people are working with?
Maybe they don't know how to really code something. They don't understand the difference between an asset and a liability and what's an expense and what's allowable and what's not. So they kind of get those things kind of convoluted in there. Um, what's a long-lasting asset and what's a short-term or vehicles and all that kind of stuff. Payroll, how to get that coded properly and get those taxes paid, the quarterly and the 941 taxes that you have to pay when you pay people. We do that kind of stuff too,
So
if
you
they're
take
not
care
already
of,
using somebody.
would you take care of that? Well, you know what? Let's go here. What's the difference between a bookkeeper and an accountant?
Okay, so an accountant is going to do higher level things. Perhaps maybe they're doing your tax returns and those kind of things. The bookkeeper is getting everything entered properly and to the penny so that you can get it over to someone else to actually file the taxes with IRS. We're not doing that at this point. We may wind up doing that in the next year, but right now we really have been more concentrated on the bookkeeping and getting everybody's books in order, getting their bank accounts reconciled, and being sure all of that's proper.
Do you feel that a lot of mistakes are being made and many business owners not even aware of it?
Yeah, and we see some of them come in and bring us their books and want us to fix, what somebody else did or they did. So yeah, there is. We see it all the time.
Hmm. I can't imagine. You're a business owner. You don't have time to look at all of that. You don't even know what's going on behind the scenes. There's got to be a lot of trust involved there with the person that's handling your books. It gets very personal.
Absolutely. I mean, they're having us have, an admin type access to their bank account. We're not able to change anything, but we're able to look behind the scenes, download things, perhaps, make the statement, print out the statements so we can use them. So they're having to trust us with that kind of information. We're able to log in and take care of those payroll taxes and those kind of things on their behalf. So yeah,
Mhm.
there's a lot of trust involved. And I've had some clients over 8 years since I actually started really doing this in QuickBooks on my own.
Wow. Let's talk about QuickBooks for a second. Now, it's only available online now, unless you have an older version. Is that correct?
I have the older version. Yeah, so some of my clients are on QuickBooks Desktop, and then, quite a few are on the online version too. Yeah,
Um,
I do both.
there's nothing wrong with using the desktop version, right?
No, and I pay a good amount of money to get that upgraded every year.
Yeah.
It's just it's just they can't now, as easily, but the bookkeepers still have access to that. And the only drawback with that is that they can't log in and get, an up to date look at their books. And a lot of them don't want to. I mean, I have some doctors that they just want me to take care of it. And it's, QuickBooks Desktop perhaps, and they're not wanting to log in there. They got their own systems at their office.
Well, that's where the trust comes in. They throw it to you and trust that you're taking care of it the way it should be. But I would imagine that, Jamie, you need to, when you have a new client, you need to really learn their business. What makes things work. They sell widgets. What's a widget? All of that kind of stuff.
And who their vendors are, and who their customers are. Up to a point, we have to kind of understand when I see something come through from O'Reilly Auto Parts that, they're charging that for a company vehicle, or they're charging that for one of their tractor trailers for the one of the trucking companies that I do books for. Or if I see something come in from, a lens company that's for contact lenses for that doctor,
Hmm.
or for the pizza place, when I see something come in from Ben E. Keith, then that's food for them, as opposed to where they're getting their wine from.
You know what's funny? I do marketing as well, have a marketing company. And the reason I even brought that up is, you just said a lens for maybe a LASIK surgeon or a cataract surgeon. I work with some, and I feel like I can't be the doctor, but I know the stuff behind it because you need to be familiar with what's going on, especially when you're coding it or attributing, like you just said, different vendors, different things that may have been purchased for the business, supplies, what column to put that in, right?
Yes. Yeah. And I've got some marketing company clients too.
Oh, wow, look at you.
So they have different stuff too. It's a whole different mindset. So it really does help them, I usually will fill it out. And if I don't know something and I can't get online and figure out who that vendor is, then I'll send them a file, ask my accountant, and they can tell me, oh, that was, a client lunch, or, that type of thing. Just they can help me, but I try to keep that to a bare minimum. And once I know what's in there and they tell me it's okay to always do it that way, then that's what I do. I don't bug them a lot. I want them to be free to do their business and not be focused on their bookkeeping, free them up to make more money.
What's the biggest surprise that you found or provided information for a client? Maybe something that was being done, maybe not the best way before they hired you. Anything that stands out?
Well, some of them are payroll mistakes. I've seen some where, they're paying a certain way, and then you get in there and you find out, oh my God, they haven't paid their payroll taxes, and this stretch of time, and now we got to negotiate that, and what the different type of 1099 vendors actually are. One of my clients, we would have to file theirs because there were over 280 of them that had to be done in January, and exactly what is considered to be that way, so we don't get them into a problem with an audit that'll turn up that they should have been paying, should have been giving them a 1099, and then they get dinged for that.
Wow.
I had to learn that at a highway contractor's office that I worked for 12 years, exactly what businesses required a 1099 and which ones didn't. And sales tax is another one. We file sales tax and do it on behalf of some clients. And I had to learn what all is entailed in sales tax and what you owe it on, what's permanent material, what's not. Got a client that has a boat dock business, and they do cars and boats and repair those, and there's differences on the sales tax on those. So I had to learn all that and help them navigate that so they wouldn't get in trouble. Try to
Hmm.
keep them out of the pokey.
I'm gonna throw a question to you, and I don't know if you'd have the answer, but I'm trying to figure it out. There there's some kind of new IRS requirement that you need to disclose something by January of 25. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, and I can't remember the exact name of it, but I know I have some to file. Yes, it's a new thing. It's a new thing, and I have emails about it. So yes, I'm very aware. We're working on that too. And I've
Yeah.
got a question from my one of my personal CPA where they're asking if they want to do mine, and I'm thinking, I think I'm going to be doing everybody else's, so I'm thinking I'm going to do my own too.
Hmm. Yeah.
Save
Is
them
it
some
pretty
money.
simple? Is it pretty simple?
It's simple enough. It's like the franchise tax or something like that. You could pay someone a good amount to do this last year's new franchise tax that we had in Texas, but they had changed the law, so it made it really, really much more of a simple task, and I was able to do that for people.
I don't think that that was it. I think it's more
No,
this
yeah, I know what you're talking about, and
it's something related to proving that you're a legit business
yes,
through because of many online scams and things like that. Something related to that. My accountant sent it to me, and I'm like, "What is this? What do I do?" Like, and
yes.
and they can't. They said we can't fill it out. You need to take care of it.
Oh,
Maybe it's
yeah,
time for
no,
me
I
to get
know
a new
what you're
accountant.
talking about because
Yeah,
I
it's
don't have it in front of me, but I know which ones you're talking about. Yeah, let's see if I can find it really quick.
yeah. I didn't mean to throw it to you last minute here.
It's
It's
the
just something
BOI report. BOI report.
that sounds familiar,
Yeah,
and I think it's January of 25.
Corporate Transparency Act.
Yes, transparency.
Beneficial ownership information, BOI report to the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. That sounds very ominous to
Yes, it
have a
does.
problem with those guys
Yeah,
under the Corporate Transparency Act, and it's got to be filed no later than January 1st. So, yeah,
yeah,
that's a new thing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know that as an individual who was not a bookkeeper that I would want to tackle that on my own, but I
I
think
s-
that,
I certainly don't want to.
yeah, no, no, I hear you. Mm-mm.
So, Jamie, tell me some of the other services that you help people out with.
I have a broad range of understanding of some areas, especially in construction, having worked for construction companies. And so I can kind of help them with, like I said, with the 1099s and with sales tax. I have an understanding of OSHA. I've had to fill out OSHA forms like the OSHA 300 and the mining OSHA form, which is the MSHA. So if they need a little bit of help in those kind of forms and things, I can offer that to them too to kind of help them. I just had a client that needed to get their disadvantaged business enterprise DBE and their hub historically underutilized business and um, minority business. They wanted to do all those so they could, be more useful to the construction industry. So I was able to help them navigate that and get that done. And that's quite a chore. I mean, that takes months and,
Wow.
little bits and pieces just to keep up with the authorities here in Texas. So we
Mm.
were able to get all three of those for them. And other things too, just having all of those ins and outs and just having the kind of mind that I like to when I have a problem, I don't like to just drop it. I like to figure out a way either around it or under it or over it, and research and got some mentors and things that I can call and we all help each other. If I haven't done it, maybe they have.
Sure, sure.
Just
And
figure it out all together.
you're in Texas, but you can work with anybody anywhere virtually, right?
Absolutely. And one of my clients has had Arizona holdings. So I've done some work in Arizona. I've had other ones that were in California at one point. They finally had to hire someone. So I didn't want to work in an office. I've already done that. I want to I want to work this way. So I had to let them go. But yes, I've worked with some other states.
How did you get started doing this? I have much respect for anybody that deals in numbers and finds that exciting. Where did it all begin?
I kind of fought it. I mean, because I've done it working for, my husband had a couple of construction companies and I did the bookkeeping for him and my family had a printing business and I was a part owner of that. I used to sell highway plans here in Texas. I love to do that. And so I didn't really plan on doing this, but someone needed a bookkeeper and I already had it. I've had full-time jobs where I did this part-time alongside it. So I've been used to working, 40 to 60 hours a week at times or more. And this just kind of took off. And I had another friend that their business had grown and they needed to offload some clients. And so I got in there and started doing those ones and it just built, and then I've met people like in the Chamber of Commerce or BNI groups or that kind of thing where, you just meet people and they need a little bit of help and they need someone they can trust.
Mm,
And when you have worked with CPAs, the same one for years and different ones too, then you can prove that you're trustworthy and that they know that you know a little bit. I don't know what they know, but I know enough that they're happy with my work.
I can't imagine all the record keeping, all that you have to in your mind, from company to company to company, keeping tabs and then making sure that it's accurate. Uh, I would have to imagine that's a huge undertaking.
Excel is my new friend.
Okay.
Excel is my new friend. And so is Adobe, right? We make all those files and we try to have a calendar, and that calendar is a good thing to have to remind us of stuff because, I can't remember it all on my own. I've got to live by that calendar reminding me and sending me little notices.
Sure. Now you don't handle the accounting, traditional accounting type services, but at the same time, you also can offer advice in terms of direction somebody should be going in terms of their company.
A little bit that way too. We
Hmm,
don't focus as much on that, but just looking at the financials can kind of help them with that as well. And that we can make it as specialized for them. Some of them just want a really simple, chart of accounts that just, this is vehicle expense. And then there's other ones that they want to know where the fuel is going and where the parts are going, and they want it more broken down. So we can make it, as intricate as they need to track their expenses and track their income.
Question. Maybe this goes a little deep. Let's see where we go with this. Let's say you have a small business and you're an LLC.
Mhm,
So you do a draw
mhm,
to pay yourself.
mhm.
Is it more advantageous to do a W-2 and change it into a company or a corporation?
Well, when you're incorporated, you need to pay yourself. They want you to pay yourself what it would probably cost you to hire someone. That's kind of what would be the salary out in the field. LLC is not required to. I think it depends on what you're trying to do in regards to your taxes.
Sure.
If you pay yourself, then you're getting to pay for those Social Security and income tax coming out of the company,
Okay.
but then that's less money left in the company. It kind of depends too on how much of a profit you want to show. I mean, are you thinking about you're going to sell your company? I mean, if you're going to do that, then you want it to look better, but if you're not planning to sell it, you may not need to show as much profit, and you don't want to get dinged for the profit too.
Interesting. Even somebody told me that the comparison between those two scenarios, um, you make more money if it's a W-2 situation as opposed to a draw.
The
Not a
draw's just
lot more.
taking money out. The draw's
Yeah.
just taking money out, yeah.
Hmm.
But you're not getting your income tax pay, your Social Security paid on behalf.
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, with the end of the year coming up, got, another month left. Anything that somebody should be mindful of at this point in time for the best tax benefit at the end of the year?
Well, I keep thinking of those 1099s. I mean, if you're not already on top of your books and you have any vendors that you pay over $600 a year, you're supposed to do a 1099 for them, and that's supposed to be done by the end of January. So you need someone to
Hmm.
get on that and get those done so that you don't get in trouble, later with that. You want to have all this stuff together so that you can kind of figure out how much money you have made this year if you want to, draw some out or make some investments in perhaps some equipment or something that you've been looking at wanting to do. You want to spend your money that way rather than wind up sitting on top of a large profit that you're going to pay taxes on instead of monies that you could have invested into some assets that
Hmm.
year that you made a good bit of money. I don't know if everybody's making money so much this year, but definitely, hopefully next year, we will be looking at those kind of concerns for sure.
The 1099 reminder, um, that's a good one because
Thank
so many
you.
companies wait until, yeah, third week of January. mass scramble. And yeah, it's supposed to be by the end of January. It should be in the hands, excuse me, of your vendors.
Yep, that's
Mm,
right, mailed. And there's so many different vendors that really require one, and sales tax too. There's loopholes in that you may not realize. Like someone comes and mows your yard, well, guess what? You're supposed to pay sales tax on that, at least here in Texas. And I know a lot of people may not realize that and they're not doing it, but you're supposed to. So if you get audited, they will get you, you know. So it kind of helps you to sleep better at night, knowing that you got your bases covered and are not kind of just risking it. And really, our services are not that expensive to give you that peace of mind and take a little bit off of your plate of what
mm.
you have to do, you know?
You just, I think, identified one of the most important things that we're even talking about here. Um, Take it off your plate and peace of mind. You don't want to worry about this stuff. I've been over many years worrying about things. I had a bookkeeper who, I'll be very honest, didn't, they were honest, but maybe didn't have the skills in communicating with the accountant. Guess what? Red flag IRS, and had a challenge with the IRS because of that. So
Yeah.
that's, peace of mind is everything right there. All good now, but I'm responsible for making some payments that I wasn't expecting. And it was, again, I'm not the expert, but when I look at it, it looked like a 50-50 communication issue between bookkeeper and accountant. One could have followed up, the other one could have followed up. In the end, I'm responsible. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah, I'm sure you're not alone having been in that boat, and I know people mean well and they do good, but stuff does happen.
sure, sure. This, as I peeled the layers back then, it looked like it could have been an easy fix if the communication was there. Uh, any other, final thoughts here that we should all be mindful of when hiring a bookkeeper?
Just make sure that they work well with your CPA. If they have been with other clients or CPAs, perhaps look at their website and see if they have, some reviews. It's hard to get reviews from people. And someone like me, I don't have hundreds of clients, but I have, very special ones that I've had for years, you know, and just kind of go that way or look, look within your circles too. But definitely, avail yourself of that. If you're not the numbers person and you don't really have the skills or have the ability and time to figure it out, go with someone that's already taken the time to figure it out and worked on it a while and knows what
Sure.
they're doing.
Yeah, one thing I detect from you instantly is you really take pride and care in what you do.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, well, I want to help people. That's sounds weird. I mean, money's motivating too, but just that feeling of, they're counting on me and I'm going to do my best for them to figure this out. Plus, I'm just kind of like to learn things, so
Mm.
it's kind of fun for me to figure stuff out.
Yeah, there's a lot on the line here, for sure.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
What's the best
Absolutely.
way, Jamie, for somebody to contact you, even just maybe even for a consult or start a conversation?
Yeah, I've got email. My email address is AAA period, the word spelled out books, like bookkeeping, period, and the word plus spelled out PLUS at gmail.com. So AAA period books period plus at gmail.com. And then also my website is AAA bookkeeping, and bookkeeping has two Ks, just so you know, dot LLC. And there's also a contact form in there too. And even though, I may not be in your city and state, you can still contact me.
Sure.
I would be grateful to work with you. I'd do my best for you.
Love it. And I have to be honest, I saw your web address, your URL, and I saw the LLC, and I'm like, this they must need the .com. I didn't know a .LLC existed.
I know, isn't that cool? It's a
It
little
is.
bit different.
Yeah, very, very much so, as you are.
Thank you.
And I mean
Well,
that
you
in
too.
in a grounded, down to earth, personalized way where, you seem old school and I love it. Old school with technology, old school values with technology.
Thank
Uh,
you. Well, we
thank
have we have all our kids grown. We have six grown children between
wow.
us. 14
Wow.
grandchildren and one great grandchild. And, we want to provide for them, but we want it to also be something that is flexible for me so I can do all kind of things.
Fantastic. Jamie, thank you for being here. Looking forward next time we get a chance to get together.
Thank you, Steve. You have fun.
You too. Have a great one.
All
We'll
right.
be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.